The drivers of the rise in populism in Europe are many, but economics played a central role. As the 2008 financial crisis rocked the global economy, it exposed cracks in the foundation of the European Union.
The initial crisis was a crisis of Europe's monetary union because the South European countries found themselves in deep difficulty that they could not get out of in the old-fashioned way by devaluing their currencies. They didn't have any monetary independence anymore. And to varying degrees, those so-called peripheral countries had very severe economic shocks. The worst was in Greece, but things were pretty bad in Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Ireland too.
And then the European economy suffers an epic second shock from the Eurozone crisis. When we say epic, we really mean as bad as the Great Depression or even worse. Double-digit falls in GDP, unemployment rates among young Europeans and much of the southern periphery of Europe are running in excess of 50%.
I think undoubtedly the financial crisis of 2008 and subsequently left deep scars and damaged the establishment in all our member states and globally because whereas previously people took credit for, if you like, competent economic management, suddenly it looked as if the economy was being very badly managed, and people justifiably said, is this economy being run in the best interests of the people, or is it being run for a minority of well-off bankers and other wealthy people?
Germany, among others, believed the southern nation's debt was an unfair burden. Spain, Italy, southern France, and Greece, meanwhile, voiced their frustrations about the structure of the EU itself.
We had not completed the architecture of economic and monetary union, particularly in the banking area. And we then had great tensions between countries, and a number of countries, Ireland, Greece, Portugal, and to a certain extent Spain through the banks, who ran into what started out as a banking crisis became a sovereign debt crisis. And we had to develop tools to help manage that. And we did that, and it was a painful process. It took several years.
The Europeans decided to have a monetary union without something more thoroughgoing. And so a lot of big decisions were postponed about who was going to have power. It really ended up being a device for forcing the southern parts of Europe into debt to the northern parts, and especially Germany.
So the rules basically exacerbated the recession far worse than it ought to have been and created this big split.